Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, our weekly look at all international racing through a Hong Kong lens with the best form analyst in Hong Kong and Clint Hutchison and the Hall of Famer in Raymond Shane Dye. Hutch, lots to reflect about. Brilliant racing in Australia and in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and it's going to be on the menu as well over the next week or so. So plenty to get through, but we've got to lift our game. It's been a tough week, Richo. Been a tough week overall, but
I'm backing you in.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. I'm backing you in because we get back to Sha Tin, which is really important as well. Golden Boy, we saw a Cox plate that we'll never forget.
Unbelievable. She was just incredible, Viva Sistina. It was an amazing Cox plate, but it always is, Richo. It always throws something up. That's what makes the race so special.
It certainly does. And then the extra element was James McDonald riding his 100th career Group 1.
Racing in the Cox plate, evaporates slow and almost stumbled out of the gates. Via Sistina away fairly. A length and a half, Mr. Brightside, Docklands, Via Sistina, 1,300 to go. And Pride of Jenny's put up 3 lengths now. Pride of Jenny grabbed by Prognosis, but Via Sistina now pushes the button on the outside and goes up and takes the lead. Via Sistina, 300 metres to go. Via Sistina storms away with 150 to go. She's 5 lengths in front. It's going to be a Cox plate round, and James McDonald, a century of the very best. Via Sistina by 7 lengths.
Oh, a moment we will never, ever forget. She was absolutely breathtaking. Shane, you rode in a different era. You rode in an era where there was, per year, there was probably 50 Group 1s, and then you went overseas where there wasn't many Group 1s. But your tally's remarkable in the 90s. But for James McDonald in 100, just sum up James McDonald, the jockey, for us.
Oh, he's a superstar. It wouldn't matter what era you would put him in, right? He's a superstar. The only thing I will say is there's not many superstars riding in Australia today. In the era of the 80s and 90s, you had a Mick Dittman, you had a Jimmy Cassidy, you had a Darren Beedman, you had a Damien Oliver, and the list goes on and on. It was a different era. So there's more Group 1s now, but James just gets the pick of it. And, if he stays there, he'll ride 15. He should be riding around, I have around 13 to 15 a year. So, he'd get to 200, no worries in his career.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point you make. Now, that was only his second one for this year, so he's had a slower start than normal, but over the recent years, it's been between 10, 12, 13 per year. He's got his eye on Ollie's record.
Yes, he does.
He wants to tick that off before he goes to Hong Kong.
What's amazing, though, Richo, just quickly, and we won't delve too deep into it, but, I know there's more these days, Group 1s here, but in addition to that, like at his age, what he's achieved compared to all the great names.
A decade younger than anyone else.
It's still relatively quicker than I think a lot of them, so it's an amazing achievement.
Hey, Clint, I got to 50 before he got to 50.
Yeah, but you went too early, Shane. You peaked on your run. He's getting home like that.
Actually, when I left Australia, my previous 3 years, I was over 10. I was 13, 10, 12, the 3 years I left.
Yeah, no, you used to go all right. That's why you're sitting in the Hall of Fame and us two aren't. You might be in the Hall of Fame if you can find some winners on Sunday. It's been a tough week for us. We mentioned that. We've been racing at Happy Valley. How have you assessed it?
Yeah, look, I think there's been some solid performances. I mean, we had, luckily, we got a result here and there, but no, a lot of placings and not enough winners. But that's the Valley, that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Good performance. I think the track raced pretty well both days, actually. Right Honourable was the benefit of a strong speed and a good Matt Chadwick ride. But no, I thought it's been pretty difficult. But yeah, this meeting on the weekend looks really a high class and high calibre meeting. And what's interesting about it, apart from anything else, a lot of horses actually debutantes, private purchases from Australia as well. Make sure you log in and go through our race by race analysis, because there's a lot of horses here that started their careers in Australia and are going to make their presence felt on the weekend.
Luke Ferraris is our very special guest. Also from a Whirlpool point of view, we'll have a detailed look at Derby Day, and Nick Ryan's going to join us as well. Form files, of course, votes for the Idol, lots to get into. But first, let's find some winners on Sunday. Shartin for Sunday. Sasa Ladies Purse is the first race to assess, the highlight of the day.
You'd love the day there. They all get dressed up and, you love your good clobber, don't you? So
Well, I'd love to be there.
You would fit right
Available if selected.
No, it's a good feature race, and I think highlighted by the return of last season's Derby winner, Massive Sovereign. I've got him a 250 favourite. Might make some minor changes once there's some liquidity in the market, but this is my early rated price. Chan Chen Glory's race fit. Nimble Nimbus first up. But G was good against the top level horses last year, keeping him safe. And one that might be a price. I know he went on the dirt, but Sword Point, has he come back a little bit better? This is the most recent trial, Shane, from Massive Sovereign. I loved the work, and 5G Patch was in it as well. But gee, this horse looks like he's on song at the moment.
Yeah, he's had a 1,600 and a 1,700 metre trial at Happy Valley, and both trials are very, very good. You got to remember what he did first up last season. He was very, very impressive last season first up. So I would expect him to run very, very well, Clint.
Yeah, and he draws that low barrier as well. Jumps out of barrier number 2 for Zach Purton, but he won't have his own way. There's some good form references as well to look at.
Oh, there's plenty of decent gallopers in there, and he is fresh up, but he goes well fresh. Now, I don't know about Chan Chen Glory, whether or not the 1800's really his go. I think this will be a learning process, perhaps for Francis Louis and the team. Like, do they go to the mile or the cup later? And I would imagine they'll probably prefer the mile. Beauty Joy now, he's in good form. He was held up in this race, Shane, but 1800's no issue for him, but it's just the weight that he constantly has to carry given his rating. And what do you think of Karma while we're on that matter?
I think he's got a very good chance. He goes to 1,800. Which is going to suit him. He's got 115. It's going to be a fast run race with Flaming Rabbit and Awful St. Paul's, and he's going to swoop late for sure, this horse. I think he's up to them. I've actually got Massive Sovereign on top from Flaming Rabbit, and then you can probably have Ching Chung Glory. And the horse you mentioned, Clint, Sword Point, I totally agree. He was very impressive the other day, and he has done it on the grass. Remember, he was he probably should have actually won the Derby 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, he's a difficult one to assess. I'm hoping he flies under the radar a bit, because a lot of the public might rely on thinking, oh, it was a dirt win, we won't follow him in. But as Shane said, when he is right, the turf's no issue. He can bounce, put himself on speed, and he put up a pretty good figure. I might have to bring Karma in a little bit. I probably will in terms of my market. He's still got to find a few lengths on what I've done, but he might well do that up in trip and with a light weight.
Well, he battles with a couple of the big boys, doesn't he?
Clint, a horse like that, we actually don't know his rating because he's on the way up. You know, people always say he's out of the handicap, and I always say that's not quite correct. He might be in official terms, but we don't actually know his correct rating. So he's not he might be way under the handicap, with his rating, which he's going to get to eventually. He's over 100 horse, that horse.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's trying to find what the right rating is, and we just don't know his ceiling at the moment. Let's move to race number 9. What do you like?
Gee, the last couple of races, they're very, very competitive with a lot of chances. We found Stella Swift last start. I'm going to stick with him. He does rise in grade. Andre Adzeni takes over from Huey Bowman with the lighter weight, but he'll run well. Hasten Delight had an excuse last start. He was vetted prior to the start. Sky Trust had excuses when held up and comes through the same form race. Of course, there's a few of them behind green and white. But this was Stella Swift, Shane, and a few S's there. This was a good performance. I think he's got some upside. Like to turn a foot off a good speed as well.
Got a very good ride this day and just joined in at the right time. Done nothing wrong, of course. Going to be hard to beat. I've actually got one that you haven't got mentioned there, My Wish on top. I think this is going to go very well. He probably should have nearly won the other day. He's had a trial since then. He's got gate 14. He'll go forward. I think he's got a great chance, My Wish.
And he's got Luke Ferraris on board for Mark Newnham, who's having some sort of season. Yeah,
Mark's flying, and so is Luke for that matter, and we'll talk more about that later. But My Wish is definitely in the mix, Shane. He should go forward. He was a bit slow away the other day, but this was Sky Trust, of course. Will Luke be able to give us a little bit of feedback on how they sort of line up with each other? Because he was, through no real fault of his own, he drew low, got held up behind Prestige always, and then Hugh got the momentum up on green and white. But Sky Trust won well first up, and he's in good form, and he probably, he's got to be in the mix as well. So it's a really competitive race. I just personally feared with My Wish he might have to do some early work, and prior to that last race, he was in a lot of slow tempo races, and you know, if they're positive on the weekend, well, he may well go a little bit better, but it's certainly a race with plenty of depth.
Yeah, 8 wins for the season for Luke Ferraris, our very special guest. So he's had a great start to the season. We move over to race number 10. Who do you like?
Another really open race.
Always to finish.
Yeah, it is. But I'm going with one. I generally try to lean with horses that have had the benefit of a run. But I think this horse has got a lot of upside steps ahead. He ended last campaign with a win. I love it when they get put out on a high, and he certainly has come back and trialled well for Francis Loy and his team, and Vinny Ho will ride. He maps nicely from the gate. Aero Invincible's fit. He's also trialled well, and he'll try and control the speed. Mighty Stride was excellent against the really, the bob of the heads. We were on him this day, and gee, it was a cruel watch, Shane. He didn't get the bob in, but he ran really well in defeat.
Went very, very well. He's come back well, this horse. I've actually got steps ahead on top too, Clint. I think he's going really well. He's had the 3 trials. He's a nice horse. I don't think he'll get as far back from gate 6. He can race closer. He went very well first up last season, so his trials have all been good, and he hasn't got a big weight on his back. He's the horse to beat. I've got him on top from, what have I got? Oh, Mighty Stride.
Oh, the one. Yeah, which Hutch has got in third. So from a wide barrier, what does Huey do there?
On Mighty Stride? Well, he's interesting. He used to show a lot of pace, but he's just lost his gate speed a little bit, but he'll work it out. Here's Zach winning on this horse this day.
Aero Invincible?
Invincible.
He got a controlled lead this day, so it was a good ride. Note the second horse, Mark Wynn, we'll talk about him later, he was very unlucky, but you know, the thing with Zach here, the horse drops 7 kilos, gate 2 finds the lead again, but Zach will be trying to control it. I just don't know if they'll let him get away with it. But Shane, this was a trial from steps ahead, and he went really well. He sat back. I like it too, as I said, when they go out on a high, he's a progressive horse. They've put him away. They've taken their time with him. He looks like he's been prepped up for this race.
Yes, he's going to be very hard to beat. Just going back to Aero Velocity, which we haven't spoken about. When he went to Class 3 last time, he didn't perform as well. He won in Class 4, looked really good, went to Class 3, and I think he had 4 or 5 runs and he might have placed once. Gone back to Class 4, what does he do? He wins there. So will he take that next step up? I'm not convinced he will yet, Clint. I know he's going to run well and he might place, but there's that bit of gap, Class 4 to Class 3.
I think the point you make is valid. I think also what's important with him is that he's a sort of a bit of a Goldilocks type horse. He needs everything to go his way. I think he needs the lead. He needs the rail. Not necessarily the lead, but on pace in that rhythm. He doesn't really quicken. And Zach had it all work out perfectly for him last time. And he'll be trying to do the same here. So I think he's up to the class, but it depends what happens around him and the run that he gets. He's vulnerable, and I'm hoping he comes up a bit short and we can bet around him.
And he's drawn low, and Zach Purton, well, you've got the benefit at the moment of Zach because he's getting ready to ride in a Melbourne Cup at a lightweight. He's taking some light rides at the moment. He must be handling that balance well.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's not easy for Zach. To get down in the weights, but the Cup's a race he wants to win. And there's a few of them like that. We're going to see Karis Teaton back
I reckon
in town
there's a live chance. More on that later on in the show. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with our star power guest in Luke Ferraris.
With 120 metres left to go, has to stave off the challenge from Tactical Command, Telecom Dragon and Golden Darcy. Smart Fighter, Tactical Command out wider. Smart Fighter, I think, might have just held on. Young Emperor through on the inside, Romantic Sun, and on the outside, Young Emperor going home the better. David Eustace gets another.
Oh, great thrill to have our star power guest. He's a good friend of the show, and Luke Ferraris. Luke, always brilliant to see you, mate. And great start to the season. 8 wins from only 59 rides. Well done.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me back on the show.
It's brilliant to have you on, mate. What do you put the good form down to at the moment? You're certainly looking like you're physically in great nick.
It's been good. We've got pretty lucky with a couple of horses. Hopefully it just continues.
Yeah, I mean, your strike rate, Luke's been fantastic, really, in terms of the rides you've had and what you've delivered. But getting a good bit of support from a couple of key trainers. Obviously, you work pretty closely with Mark Newnham. Just a word on Mark.
Yeah, well, Mark's been fantastic this season so far. I find him really easy and to work with, and he's got nice young new horses coming through. So that always helps. And yeah, hopefully this goes from strength to strength.
Are you finding on the back of the success the phone's ringing a little more, or they're answering the calls?
Yeah, well, yeah, it builds up momentum, I suppose, and I think that's the hardest part about Hong Kong. But with the couple in the back of the net recently, it's definitely helped.
Hey, and Shane, you'd be really pleased to see this, mate, because you've been talking about all last season, talking about the fact that Luke's riding so well, he just needs better opportunities. He's starting to get them.
He doesn't make many mistakes. He rides a lot of winners, and he's a good kid working hard. You've got to remember, he's one of the youngest there. What are you, Luke, 21, 22?
22.
22, oh, you're getting old, eh?
Hey, Luke, don't worry. Shane still thinks he's 22.
I don't know about that.
It's fine.
I know my body's telling me I'm not 22 anymore. But anyway, no, but he doesn't get the rides he should. He doesn't get a lot of support, I don't think. He only has 4 or 5 rides most meeting, and they're not real good chances. So he's done a fantastic job. I think it's communication with all the Chinese trainers, getting there to the track and talking to them and just convincing them to put you on one day. But you're going really well. And if you have a look at the win-loss situation with the jockeys, I think you're the best profit in Hong Kong riding.
Wow, there you go. 8 from 59 and 6 placings as well. And Luke, you'd be thrilled though with a pretty solid book of rides. You got 7 rides on Sunday.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I think there's some nice horses in there, so hopefully things can fall their way in the races and it's a bit of luck.
Yeah, look, just on touching on a couple of them, Cheerful World looked very unlucky the other day. Luke, do you think you would have gone close to winning?
Yeah, I think, unlucky probably sums up the best. He was all dressed up, nowhere to go. And eventually when he sort of did see a bit of daylight, it was all over. He's got a nice draw, so if you can put him in a good spot, hopefully he can do the rest.
Yeah, he looks like a nice progressive horse. And well, Shane's already mentioned one that you ride on the day, and I'll ask for him, but My Wish he's giving a very good chance to.
Yeah, didn't get the nicest of draws, but the horse is in good form. He hasn't done much wrong this season. I think he's going to need a fair bit to go his way though from that draw.
We showed this day they didn't go that quick. He controlled the race, he kicked away. But last start, there's a bit more speed in that race. But he hit the line really well. His last 100 was terrific. Is he still learning his craft? And maybe Shane's got a point or two in something that he's seen and he'd like to ask as well. But to me, it seemed like he sort of clicked into gear with 100 to go.
Yeah, I thought his last start was pretty impressive. He is still learning sort of how to race still. He is a bit of a difficult customer. He can get a bit hot and bothered, but when he puts it together, I think he'll be okay.
He had a trial since his last run. Were you happy with that?
I was. Didn't do anything wrong. Broke cleanly. Went straight into a rhythm and didn't ask too much of him throughout the trial. But he was ticking all the boxes, so he's feeling well.
And what about another horse? Just the last one we'll touch on, Luke, and I'm not sure if you've ridden him work or not, but Matsu Victor, gee, it was a big win at the Valley a couple of runs back. Obviously, Vincent rode him there. He was a bit disappointing last start when he started favourite. But in race 6, Matsu Victor, he's just an interesting runner for me, particularly on the back of that incredible win first up. Yeah,
I've sat him once now at work and he feels good. I think Sharton will suit him. He's a bit of a sort of big, long striding horse. And yeah, hopefully, he'll probably get back, I'd imagine, a little bit. And if he can get the right splits, then he should be finishing.
Nice to have a big a race in the feature as well. The Sarsar encountered. How do you think he'll go?
His sort of trial that he had was just a tick over gallop. He was moving well and wasn't asked to extend too much. I was happy with them after that, and so was David. He's feeling nice and sharp, and I'm really happy with the space that he's in.
Yeah, it's a terrific race, isn't it? What does a punk 22-year-old kid do in Hong Kong when you're not race riding? Tell us how you settled into Hong Kong and loving life.
Play a lot of golf.
Oh, do you?
Weekend. Yeah, my handicap's been slashed recently, so I might get a game in with Hugh now that he wants to take me on for 16 instead of a 19. But that's mainly what we do.
Who's the best jockey golfer in Hong Kong?
I think Hugh's the lowest handicap. I think that it's 11,
Right.
11 or 10.
Well,
It all depends. They're okay until there's betting involved, and the minute there's a game on, then all of a sudden they pull out all the stops. So
yeah, I can. Hey, we're going to bring our secret weapon over in December. We're going to bring the Golden Boys some clubs over there. He's defeated John Daly in the past, so watch
I don't know
out.
about that.
Once again, handicaps.
handicaps, yeah.
Shane,
It helps.
what do you play off now, Shane, or you just never play?
Whatever you want me to.
But I've got a note written down here about you waterfall diving. What's this all about?
Me?
Yeah, something
Waterfall
about vision of you waterfall diving.
Oh, that was sort of one of the hikes that you could do here.
Oh, that's not diving.
No.
Oh,
It's a
that's
pin
splash.
Yeah, well, that's one of the Sci 1 hike. It's a pretty sort of nice hike down to a waterfall, and you can swim and sort of go have lunch there. It's far out though, but it's a good day out.
Oh, that sounds
That's
good.
great.
Hey, we'll put that on our list in December. Guess
Yeah.
what? We're bringing 35 of our closest friends this year across. I don't know if you're ready for another bunch of Australians coming across.
It should be good. December is always a good time of the year. Yeah, that should be fun.
Mate, we look forward to catching up with you there. I know you've got some trials to ride today. Good luck on Sunday, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much for having me back on the show, guys. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Brilliant, man. Luke Ferraris.
He's riding so well. He's going really
he
good.
deserves every bit
Yep.
of success he
Yep.
gets, doesn't he?
Yeah, and like Shane said, Shane, he's not jumping on many shorties either in terms of the market. So, the fact that he's booting home plenty of winners, and we forget. I was saying to someone the other day, you forget how young he is, and I'm glad you brought it up. 22.
Yeah,
He's still
22.
still very very young lad who's clearly got a lot of potential. I think Zach went to Hong Kong when he was 23, so it's just a reminder too.
And it's not easy there being by yourself, and he's there by himself. He's done a bloody good job, Gets lonely at times in Hong Kong when things aren't going right, and you just got to stick it out, and he has, and it turns. And so I saw his dad up there at the races not very long ago on TV,
Oh, great.
who was a trainer there.
Yeah, and that'd help him, settling in and making sure that he. You raise a really good point. It's fine being alone when you're on the crest of a wave, but when you're going tough, that's when you really need some support. But he's certainly riding really well. Tell me about Sasa Ladies Purse Day. You were telling me how excited everyone gets dressed up.
Yeah, everyone gets dressed up. It's one of the highlights, I think, of the racing calendar really in Hong Kong, and it's sponsored by Sasa, which is.
Yeah.
Of course, they're connected with all the beauty horses,
Yeah,
which
that's
we've
right.
shown before. So it's just a great day's racing, and people like to dress up and look good.
Oh, you can imagine Nicole Purton. She'd be front and centre alongside Jermaine Hall, and also looking stunning.
The most glamorous day of the Hong Kong racing calendar is Sasa Ladies Purse Day. It's about celebrating women in racing, fashion, glamour, and most importantly, having fun. But you've got to look the part, so I've got the perfect person to join me in Causeway Bay to shop for 2024, Jermaine Hall. Jermaine, what do you love about Sasa Day?
I just love the dress up and the glamorous styles and different styles on different people. I think it's the best way to get more ladies involved in horse racing through fashion.
Do you find that you follow trends, or do you like to see a trend and put your own spin on it?
I like to see the trend and put my own spin on it because every year there are different trends, but it might not suit me, and so I put a different twist on it.
So Jermaine, when it comes to fashion, whose style do you admire the most?
Guys, let me introduce Mrs. Nicole Purton. I love her style.
You're very sweet.
I think everyone is different. Everyone has a different body shape. So to me, the most important part is to know your body and try different outfits on and see what's good on you or me. And recently I've been following this girl on Instagram called Jenny Zhang, and then she's very edgy. She dresses really differently from myself, but that's why I like to look at her stuff for inspirations. And she likes layering, which I'm not very good at, but that's how you get inspiration.
We have Sasa Day coming up on November 3rd. Have you decided what you're going to wear?
This year I'm gonna go for pink to match with their theme. I feel like Sasa ladies' purse days, they like floral, they like very feminine dresses, styles. I'm gonna go for more like florals, a pink dress, and it's a bodycon dress.
Do you usually pick your outfit first or your hat, or do you do the hat then the outfit?
For me, I always pick the outfit first, and I feel like that's the first impression when people look at you, and then you can get to accessorize with the hats, headbands, and shoes and bags.
And have you thought about what kind of headpiece you'll go for this year?
No, but I'm going to Australia soon, so hopefully I can find something in Australia to match with my dress.
Okay, Jermaine, that's enough chatting. Let's hit the shops.
Ooh.
Oh, that's very you. That would look nice with what you have on today. I'm loving things that have
I love the self-portrait buttons.
These kind of
I
buttons.
know, like
yeah.
this. Oh, this is cute.
So cute.
Oh, cute!
Nice
This
stuff.
is so on trend, Nicole.
It is on trend.
It is.
Should be on me. Look, what did you wear last year?
I wore an Australian brand blue dress.
Oh, the Beckham Bridge one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What am I gonna wear then? Because last year I looked like Spider-Woman.
You had a black dress on.
Yeah, but it was like full body, long sleeves.
With
It looked like I had spider's
gemstones.
webs all over me.
Oh, you can wear that for Halloween this year.
Oh my god, I love
cute.
those.
And the height is like perfect.
They're so cute. We're like magpies. We're both drawn to the
Similar.
sparkly. Ooh,
This is very
cute.
Derby
Try
Day,
those.
isn't it?
They actually look really nice on you, Dwayne. And the wind behind you. The slipper fits.
Okay, Cinderella.
Oh my god, these are so nice.
They are so nice. Okay, out of the three today, I love them the most.
Yeah, me too.
And they are your height.
Okay. Are you coming home with me?
One of the great days of world racing is VRC Derby Day at Flemington. It's a world pool meeting. Our very special guest has a runner in the Derby in Nick Ryan. Always good to see you, mate.
Thanks, Richo.
Thanks for being part of our show. Must be a huge thrill to have a runner in the Derby.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's obviously a time-honoured race and home track, train at Flemington. So, yeah, it's a big buzz.
Did you ride in many derbies as a gun?
Yeah, I rode in every derby bar the VRC Derby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, AJC, Queensland, Adelaide, yeah, but yeah, it's one that eluded me.
Yeah, so from a world pool point of view, this is a massive day.
Yeah, it's a
Hutch, isn't
massive,
it?
big day, and look at all these races. This is one of the jewels in the crown of Australian racing, no doubt about it, and Hong Kong and the world pools will all be wagering on all of the races on Derby Day, and obviously the Derby itself, race 7. And we're going to touch on that with Nick. And, you know, the barriers are really important when it comes to the Derby, Nick. So when the marble fell your way, of course, with Red Aces, you must have been pretty happy. Yeah, look, I was driving the car and refreshed my phone and nearly ran off the road. But we know, look, the Oaks and the Derby start, it's not the best start at Flemington. The turn comes up pretty quick and everyone's bussing for position. So to draw a marble is very, you know, it's handy.
Yeah. Shane, amongst all of us, you're the only one that's won a Derby. Nothing like a day in 1995. Beautiful memories.
Beat Octagonal.
Yeah.
It was a good race. Yeah, so it's a while ago.
But
Whitney's crossed the bridge since then, I know that.
2,500 metres. It's an interesting start. We're talking about barriers here with Nick. Only a short run to that first turn. How important is barriers?
Oh, over the 2,500, big time, right? You really want a good gate. El Castano, the favourite, he's drawn 18. Makes it hard, but He's the best horse in the race on form. There's no doubt. He can quicken in a race. He's kept improving. He's gone up a notch every run. Now, from gate 18, you've got two options. You either go back or go forward. I would probably be going forward, and there's good pace out wide. There's a lot of pace out wide. Horses like West Indies, Oxford Blue, there was something else, Hot Goose Go, and they've all drawn outside gates. So I think this will be a true run derby, and they'll go pretty quick, especially early.
Yeah, true run derby. Does that suit you as we look at Red Aces' run in the Vars?
Yeah, look, I think it does. I agree with Shane. It's going to be truly run. There's a lot of speed out wide, and a lot of these lead-up races, you'll see the Geelong Classic, the Norman Robinson, even the Vars somewhat, they've been slowly run. They've been a bit of a sit and sprint. My horse, I've always thought with him, the further the better. He's a real genuine stayer. So generally run Derby. His pedigree suggests he'll run it. He's got Oaks winners in it and Derby winners. So I think the truer the run, the better for him.
Yeah, the big positives, obviously, the barriers won. A horse that's bred to get the trip. So it looks like you've obviously targeted this race a fair way out. And in conjunction with all of that, it's his home track. He's performed well at Flemington in the past as well.
Yeah, my word. He's 2 starts at Flemington for a win and a second. You even saw at the Valley last Saturday, he sort of wobbled around and copped a bump. He's only had 5 starts. Tomorrow will be, Saturday will be 6th start in the race. So I think he's putting it together at the right time.
And he's the horse that you straight away, as soon as you started to work with him, went Derby horse.
Well, yes, Richo. My stepfather and I, we purchased him at the Inglis Melbourne Premier Sale as a potential Guineas Derby colt. Yeah. And he first come in, he had beautiful action, but very dumb. He's taken a long time and a lot of work, but he'd always had the right action, and he's got a good set of lungs. You see him, he went to the races, his first start very, very raw, very dumb, set out the back and whizzed home, and that's when we sort of started to plot back from the Derby, and it just so happens, it's come to fruition.
Yeah, you look at the Caulfield Classic, you were scratching the barriers on this occasion, and once again, touching on the point that you both have made, just no tempo in this race. So the horse with the pink cap that will be ridden by Huey Bowman's name is Keeneland. This is the sort of horse that you've got form references through with Red Aces, but he's the sort of horse that needs a strong tempo, Hutch. Sit and sprint was never going to suit him.
It's what makes it hard to judge is they all do. I think China Sea, King of Wall Street, Keeneland he was actually good again through the line in Red Aces. I mean, it's really hard to know which horse will benefit most from a good tempo, I suppose, Nick. But at least you know your horse is bred for it. Some of those are as well. And the favourite on paper, El Costello, well, he's going to need a good ride. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Look, the barriers are just the biggest concern for him. You're watching that Norman Robinson, there's not much between those first 3. It's going to come down to runs in the race and rides and barriers, etc. So, as we all know, these big races, you need everything to go your way. And, my horse drawing low is a good start.
Golden Boy, who would you like to be riding? Who's your tip?
I'd want to be on El Costello. Simple as that. I'd take the gamble from gate 18. I've got him on top from, James McDonald's ride.
King of Thunder.
I think from gate 1 he'll get a beautiful run 3 back the fence. He was strong through the line the other day, and it was a good run on an on-pace track. He kept coming. And, of course, there's a roughie there, Gold Rush Guru. Jamie Carr's on it, we haven't mentioned. Well, it was very impressive the other day winning in Adelaide, I thought. I thought it would run very well. What's your opinion on that horse, Clint?
Yeah, no, it rated well that race, so, probably stays as well. It's a difficult race to assess, I think, because a lot of them are coming out of slow races. But I think Keeneland each way is about $9 or $10. Same sort of form as Red Aces. Red Aces is more found in the market, which I found surprising. But I thought Keeneland each way would give you a bit of a sight. Huey Bowman as well. Like Hong Kong Huey, we call him now.
Oh, I can see why you're looking at me and not looking at your good mate Nick here.
I hope Red Aces wins for Nick, absolutely. And I know Nick, you're a keen watcher of Hong Kong racing as well. So
yeah, love HKIR, and we're very watching every Wednesday night and Sunday. So follow it with interest.
It'll be a dream one day for you to be a trainer there?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I had a short stint there as a jockey when I was very young, and certainly something that I'd be very keen on in the future.
Oh, okay, watch this space. I think politely done.
Just one quick question.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Don't you train a bad horse from Hong Kong for a really bad owner?
Yes, he does.
If I remember correctly. What's it called?
Mohamed.
Yeah.
What was
Oh, who owns that, Nick?
Yeah.
this man next to me?
Yeah, he's doing it beautifully. What I was saying is, Politely Done is another.
Another
it's
one
a good
that'll stay.
Richo roughie that can hit the line really stylish, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot
Big done
between them.
deal.
It looks like Flemington, yes, good speed, yes, and it could stay. And it wasn't a bad run at the Valley. the other
Yeah,
day.
that's right. Coolmore Stud Stakes. Wow. Now it's called Derby Day, but not far away from it starting called Coolmore Stud Stakes Day, I tell you, because this is the highlight, Hutch.
You love tradition, Richo.
Yeah, I know,
We've got
I
to
love
stick with
top hat
tradition.
and tails.
Yeah, I actually think that the Coolmore, there aren't that many chances. I think Growing Empire, I think this is the right form. I know he had his chance in the Everest. Lady Camelot was terrific with probably a softer run, but he's performed down the straight and his run in the Manicato was outstanding. And these are the best sprinters we've got. So if he's running, beating a length by them,
Yeah.
I think it's good enough to win the Coolmore.
How'd you line them up, Shane, down the straight? Now, do you want to be drawn wide? It looks like there's going to be a big sort of a tailwind, if you like, down the straight as well.
Well, normally, Nick will tell you this outside gates are better.
Yeah.
You want to be drawn on the outside somewhere and up the straight. That's always been like that as far as I've ridden and watched. I think he's going to be very hard to beat. He's done nothing wrong. He won very well up the straight 3 starts ago. He just keeps going, he's a nice horse.
Yeah,
You have to bank on the fact that he's going to regress, I think. Because if he maintains his recent form...
he should win.
Yeah, so I think to knock him, you're saying, well, he's been up a while and he won't reproduce.
Yeah.
But I hate to try and pick horses that are going to do that. Good luck with that when you're wagering.
Isn't that the art form of trying to find the winner, is trying to work out when they've actually got to their limit that they're about to go down?
Exactly. Look, there's a couple others that have probably, sort of been more set. I mean, Traffic Warden was, of course, scratched at the Everest, so that's an excuse. The interesting runner, and I think Bellatrix Star, the Kiwi mare for Michael Walker, I think, is a real talent. She keeps going
Mark
that way.
Walker.
Sorry, Mark Walker.
Yeah.
She might be one that could run a big race at a price.
What do you think, Nick, in this Coolmore Stud Stakes?
Look, I think the Everest form is far superior. I think Growing Empire is the best horse in the race. He's a good colt, and I think he'll win.
Yeah, I thought Traffic Warden was going to beat him on Everest Day. Now he was scratched at the barriers.
Are you sticking?
Low. So I've got to keep the faith there. I thought Gatsby's is a really good roughie in the race. He'll be 30-1 on the.
You love
on
a
the
roughie.
Day. Well, that's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try to assess which one is over the odds. What about the Empire Rose? Let's have a look at the field here, Hutch.
Yeah, this is a great race as well. Always is. Look, there's no knock on her tissue. She could easily win this race. We know she loves Flemington. You got J Mac, Chris Waller. She was brilliant, I thought, against the pattern of the day last up in a quality race. All that said, I think there's a couple of horses that you could easily play in the race. Plenty of Ammo is one of them, and Orchestral's the other. I'm going to go with Orchestral. I thought the run in the 2-rack held up really unlucky there, and I think we can take a Quinella. Like I said, I'd box the Quinella up. I think a Tissue and Plenty of Ammo. I think those are the 3. Just take note at Flemington on the day as well, and Shane might know this, but they're predicting a northerly, a pretty strong one, and when that is the case, it's sort of into their face a bit down the side, and it helps those horses running on. A bit Shane Dye style, like sit back and launch late.
Who's going to sit back and launch in this, Shane? Who do you think wins the Empire Rose?
Well, Orchestra's form last year was just outstanding. Very, very good filly she was. She's had excuses both her runs back. I think she's going to be very hard to beat. As Clint said, she'll sit back and come down the outside. The toppy Tissue, well, it's been running in very hard races where it's been leader-dominant races, and it's been getting back and running on a bit. So she's going to get her chance here, for sure.
I think a good roughie in the race is Komochi, an inside barrier for Huey Bowman. What are you thinking, Nick, here?
Oh, look, I'd see Amelia's Jewel drawn low. HKIR, I read an article, Annabelle, saying she put the blinkers on it and it worked extremely well the other day. I remember Simon Miller staying with me last year and he did the same. She worked in blinkers one morning. Don't override her.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's been going well. And these blinkers, I remember Simon Miller kept saying, I'm holding back the blinkers, holding back the blinkers. So they go on Saturday for the grand final. I've mentioned Huey Bowman. Huey's coming out to ride at Hong Kong, and he's from Hong Kong. He teams up with you in race number 3 here with Johnny Rocket. What do you think?
Yeah, well, talking about barriers up the straight, he's drawn out wide in 11, which will suit, and I think certainly Hong Kong HUTCHI'S going on is a major plus. He's just got to bring his form, his best form, and he's definitely very competitive. He's a 5-year-old bull, and he's been running in some very good races early on in the prep, so he's back in grade. And look, I can't fault the horse. His work. He jumped out up the straight with the champion sprint horses last Friday, and jogged up behind them. So if he can produce his work, I've freshened him right up for tomorrow. So similar sort of recipe to when he won last prep. So hopefully he can bring his best.
Oh, I think Hong Kong HUTCHI'S has a gun book of rides.
He does, yeah.
I think More Territories is a real live chance on the each way. We've spoken about Keeneland. I've given a case to Komochi, and then my best roughie of the whole day is Infancy, which HUTCHI'S rides in the last for Chris Lees, draws wide, has been a sectional star up in Sydney. So a big watch for HUTCHI'S Bowman. Who's your best on Derby Day? Help the punters
well,
out.
we're going to help out. So yeah, if you're overseas and you're having a wager, make sure you get involved. I think Jimmy Star looks the best of the day for me. I don't think there are too many chances. Kieran Ma holds the key. He's got that, and Will John. Jimmy Star will be favourite and hard to beat. And I like in a very open vanity race number 2. I'd expect this horse to be double figures. I think the favourite at this point in fixed odds markets is around $8. Right. That's the sort of race that it is. But lovely cut for Damien Lane. Goes back, and I think she's a very talented mare for a young up-and-coming trainer.
And appropriately looking ahead to Tuesday, the first Tuesday in November, the race that stops this nation in Australia, but hopefully consumed by everyone around the world, is the Great Melbourne Cup. Nick, what do you think of the Melbourne Cup this year? How have you assessed and from afar?
Look, I think there's probably 3 or 4 chances of what I've seen. Recently, the Bendigo Cup winner, Harry Eustace.
Sea King.
I think it's very hard to go past Buckaroo. He's in a rich vein of form, and he's trained by a genius in Chris Waller, and he'll have him right.
I've got it set up at the moment. I'm billing this race as the Battle of the W's. Willie Mullins versus Waller. And I think both of Willie's live chances in Vauban and Absurd up against Chris Wallace, led by Buckaroo, as we show a replay of the Caulfield Cup. And every year the Caulfield Cup's a really important
this is year in, year out, it's the best form reference.
And Land Legend in Bon Ho's colours.
Yeah, Land Legend needs to settle, but Buckaroo is the only horse you'd take from the Caulfield Cup. His run was enormous given the pattern on the day and the way the race unfolded. And prior to that, we saw him battle one out with Via Sistina. Prior to that, we saw him absolutely bolt in at Caulfield. Like his form, this preparation is really hard to fault. So Joe Moreira's run second in the race twice. He wants to win this one.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the barriers will be, but I wouldn't be jumping off Buckaroo just yet. I think the interesting horse that you mentioned could well be, and this is the Hong Kong representation, of course, in the Melbourne Cup. The interesting runner could be Absurd. He was ridden quite handy last year in a fast race. And Willie Mullins, you might be right. He'd be the one, actually. They're all talking about Vauban. I think, and remember there was money around late last year for Absurd, very late.
And he rolled into the race. He beat Vauban home and he ran really well.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a far more patient ride this time around.
And I think also, Nick, Willie's, he knows the race pretty well, doesn't he? But he also worked out those horses that come here in that first shipment and spend a lot of time in Werribee versus those that come in late and a hit-run mission tend to be a better success the second one.
Yeah, he's come out publicly and said that. He's changed his tactics this year. I think Hutchie made a good point. Land Legend, he was very keen and over-raced in the copper. Seeing what Chris has done with him since then, he went out on the course proper on Tuesday at breakfast at the best and just worked slow. And then he went for a trip to Bendigo Cup Day, and galloped on the course proper. So he's obviously mixed it up. Look for him to settle a bit better, and Zach's obviously had a ride on him now, and he knows him. So if you can get him to switch off, he'll run well.
Yeah, I think he did a piece of work the morning of the Metrop when he won the Metrop. He didn't do any work the morning of the Caulfield Cup. He was too fresh. He'll be doing some work the morning of the Melbourne Cup. And Zach Burton is eating fresh air biscuits between now and then to make sure he's nice and light. A tip in a word for the Cup?
Yeah, I think I'd be sticking, like I said, I'd be sticking with Buckaroo. Yeah, and you know what? I think on the day, they'll come for a lot of other horses. You'll probably get he'll probably get out a little bit in the market, if anything.
Shane, I always write your tip down. Who wins the Cup?
Mate, I'm trying to find a winner Saturday and Sunday, let alone bloody Tuesday. Mars will be a year away. I haven't even looked at the overseas runners yet. I'm worried about backing winners now, not Tuesday. I couldn't give one, that's being honest. But Clint's right. His run was the best run in the Caulfield Cup, Buckaroo. And if he runs the 2 miles, which from England they think there's a big query about, but he definitely run the 2,400 metres out. And if you run the 2,400 metres of the Caulfield Cup out, you normally run the Melbourne Cup 2 miles out.
Nicholas?
Yeah, look, I agree with Shane. I think Buckaroo's just the obvious pick.
Yep.
I'd love to see Zach do it on Land Legend, but very hard to go past Buckaroo.
I think William Buick will win the Melbourne Cup on Vauban. I think
go.
Willie Mullins will get it right, and I'm going to box up the 2 Willies and the 3 Wallers. All 5 of them, they'll run the Quinella, the trifecta and the first 4.
Lot of synergy there. A lot of synergy.
Remember
there.
who told you? Nick, thanks for coming in, mate. And good luck for Derby Day too.
Good luck with Red Aces, and maybe if we get Red Aces winning the Derby, we might have him in the Vase next year.
In the Melbourne Cup next year?
Yeah,
absolutely.
something like that.
Little trip away would be good.
That'd be good. Off to the Melbourne Cup into the Vase. Lock that in. Nick Ryan, our very special guest. Stay with us. Watching the Triple Trio.
150 to go, Sunline's a length in front. In Prawn lifts, they come to the line. Sunline, the mare of the world, wins it. Elaine Feelings made the lead. Helios Express up on his outside from Ching Ching Glory. Speed Dragon disappointed for a run. Helios Express has taken over though. He's raced a length clear over Helene Feeling. Ching Ching Glory. Star Mac runs on through the centre. He'll get into minor money, but the favourite way too good. Helios Express has beaten Helene Feeling and Star Mac. 3 lengths then, 2 Bundle of Charm, Gorgeous Win and Sing Dragon. Bottom up together and Wunderbar the 2. They go at it, 3 in front of Gorgeous Win. Wunderbar's the neck in front of Bottom Up Together. Gorgeous Win, it's Wunderbar in front of Bottom Up Together, who's gallant in defeat, but the favourite is too good, Wunderbar.
All roads lead to HKIR. Lots to get our heads around. John Size has advised where some of his stars are going.
Yeah, very important news, I think, with regard to that, because Helios Express was a real eye-catcher, wasn't he, on that first up run versus Kaying Rising. They're going to stick to the sprint up until December, and this is courtesy of the SCMP, and also how deep is your love will head that way. Now, Wunderbar's the exciting horse on the way up. He's not going to throw him in the deep end at this point. He's going to run in a Class 2 in the middle of the month, and it might just come a bit quick for him.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Helios Express? I thought he'd be just cherry ripe for the mile, but sticking as a sprinter, long-term program.
Well, they got Beauty Eternal in the mile, but I think after December, then they might weigh up their options.
No Via Sistina as well, not going to Hong Kong, so will be. It was a tough decision, no doubt, for Vin Cox and the team. Won't be heading to Hong Kong. Hopefully we'll see it there into the future. So lots to look forward to as we build up towards that great week of racing in December. To get ready to try to find some future winners. Let's start with your top performance of the week.
Yeah, no, it was a week where we didn't really sort of bust the clock open with too much, to be perfectly honest. I mean, co-partner Prance, I thought was well ridden, sort of back third up. He posted a 76. We know he's capable of better than that on my figures. But no, it was a week where there was a lot of underwhelming performances, to be perfectly honest. And a sectional star of the meeting, of course, was this horse who ran at 11.24 horsepower. It was a good win. 3 wide trail. First start of it was with Team Friedman in Australia. Went up there well back for Frankie Law and Zach Purton. And that horse really rallied strongly to put up a good closing sectional.
Okay, so they're straight into the files. Also, who's sweet in defeat?
Yeah, once again, not that many. I thought there were a couple of horses that was certainly... And what I wanted to highlight here was, geez, the start has been costly for a lot of horses. Have a look at how many of these horses cop it at the start. Now, this was Country Music, of course. Now, just
Country
put on the
Dancer.
back, Country Dancer, sorry, put on the back foot to begin with. Look at him close off here, like he wins if he doesn't get put out of business early. And a lot of these horses are getting knocked down at the start. Here's another race for you. Modest Gentleman. He too, bang, squeezed out, put on the back foot, back to nearly last. And these maps, and this is why it's so critical at the Valley, have a look at him get home. So he's 2 lengths at least further back than what he should be, and he gets beat, what, about a length there. There's another one as well. This is Raging Blizzard. He jumps a bit awkwardly. Bang, sandwich. I mean, part of that was his fault. He didn't step brilliantly and then copped it. It was a nice ride there after Shane, where he was sort of fall back the fence. He probably presented to win, peaked on his run late. But gee, I tell you what, that start there is, you know, some of these races, that interference can be very, very costly. And all those horses, I think, you know, deserve another chance.
It's very important to start, but sometimes it can help you too, because you're drawn out wide and you're going to go back. But now there's a couple there you can follow, Clint.
Yeah, and into the Sweet in Defeat file goes 4 from 15th meeting and just 1, Devano.
Romantic Sun was really good. I thought Devano was great chasing a hot speed during the week. Like, stick with him. If he draws a barrier, he'll be winning at the Valley or Shartin, doesn't matter. But those other 4, 3 of the 4 on the day, they all just didn't have much luck at the start, and a couple of them were plays for us, but they deserve, you know, to be followed going forward.
We're starting to build up that file too, so in a couple of weeks' time we'll start to show you some of those results, because some of the horses in the Sid file will be starting to race.
Yes, they will be.
Salute.
And you like writing them down in your little black book, don't you?
I have them in the little black book, and I monitor you with great interest, barracking hard for you. And I barrack hard also for the jockeys, because it's idle time.
Oh.
And Raymond Shane Dye has cast his eye over the rides during the week. Over to you, Golden.
This is a good ride from the kid, Alice Wong. This was on Wednesday night.
Capital Legend.
It's Capital Legend, gate 12. He made his mind up before the race to go back. Sometimes you just got to say, right, this horse can lead or go forward, but if he had off, he would have been wide. Let's just go back. And he just, for a kid, this is a really, really good ride, Clint.
Yeah, it was a good ride. It was a lot better than his ride in the previous. That is for sure. But the previous race, but you know, he went back and he never went around a horse here. So credit where it's due. He did do a good job on this horse.
What did he ride in the previous race?
I think there was a horse that Ace Talent, where he sort of lost the rudder late, dropped the reins, ran off at the halfway down the straight. So. Yep, you got to give credit where it's due. It's sort of, I mean, it was an amazing win actually visually, this, because he was so far off them in the run. He must have been 8 lengths, Shane.
This is what won the race up here. He's off the fence here, and he can go round them, but he elects to switch to the inside, and he loses 2 lengths here to find the fence. You'll see him come back here and let the horse in the yellow go, and that's what won him the race. So he comes back to the fence. That was the best move. The other race this night was also Right Honourable with Matthew Chadwick. Very similar ride, very good ride. Both rides were outstanding. But he saves ground, and because he's wasted no energy and he's not burning energy going around them, he can quicken up the straight, which he does.
Good training performance as well. I mean, what was interesting about him, Shane, he backed up within, 3 days from the weekend. I tell you what, I could not have found him. I marked him a big price. He was, I thought, pretty plain on the weekend. So it's probably also just a reminder of when you can back up in Hong Kong, and they can't do it that often with the entry system. Horses can really thrive on it. He won there. It was a nice ride, but like I said...
nice ride. That was outstanding.
Right.
And so the points, I thought Matthew's ride was outstanding on... Right Honourable. Matthew's riding really well this season. Last season he struggled, but this season he's come back. Zach's just different jockey, as I keep saying. 4 winners. Yui's ride on Denfield and Sugar were just super, outstanding. Vincent rode a couple of winners. Luke rode a couple of winners, and I thought this was a very good ride for Alexi.
And there's the leaderboard, and at the moment Zachary's leading by 3.5. Shane, we are now week 8, and you are yet to take a vote off any jockey. So either they're riding really well, or maybe you're getting a little soft in your old age.
Probably getting a little soft, but Let's give him a break. I've done something else here which I think people will find interesting.
Talk to us.
So it's about Zach. Last year, I thought he was off and not riding as well as he could. And I want to pinpoint here, and this year he's back, his seat on a horse, he's riding sensational, he's not as aggressive. So if you have a look here, the first one up the top, this is 2 years ago when he rode 170 winners. He rode 11, 21. So he's on 32 winners after October, right, to get to 170. Last year he rode 8 and 12, which meant only 20. So he's 12 behind after 2 months, 130. This season, have a look. He's gone 13, 19, which puts him on 32, which is when he had the record. He is definitely a chance to break the record this year, the way he's riding, barring, of course, injury and a lot of suspensions. But Zach doesn't get suspended often. He's pretty careful. It's the injuries that you can slow you down.
Oh, I love it. Zach Tracker.
Zach Tracker.
I like it. That is
fantastic.
fantastic.
I think he's about, what is he, about 40-something shy of Douglas's all-time.
And hopefully there'd be a wonderful presentation, and Douglas will be there to hand the mantle over to Zach, who's worked so hard to get it.
That'd be interesting. Do that with gritted teeth.
There you go. Well done. No, I'm sure.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Happen.
It's only a matter of time, Dougie. I think he'll be ready for it.
Records are 4. They're all meant to be broken.
That's right.
100%, Shane.
No,
exactly.
You're dead right. A quick break, then we'll find our very best bets coming up. Your very best bets for the weekend, pen poised.
Real feast of racing, isn't it? So hopefully we get a few of those collects on Derby Day, World Pool Day, with all 9 races. Now, it was a real eye-catching run from Mark Wynne first up. That was his debut. I think he ran home in 21.87, according to the sectionals on the Hong Kong Jockey Club website. He's trialled really well since, and I think he'll be tough to beat. I'm excited to see the Derby winner come back. His trials have been top-notch, and I'd imagine they'll be heading towards those international races, and they're going to get a run under the belt. He's been well prepped up, massive sovereign. I like those two, and I think they'll be very hard to beat, Richo. Take him in a multi.
Race 5, the 4, into race 7, the 3, and then maybe multi into this bad boy, Golden.
I'm going to go late in the day. I'm going to go My Wish from gate 14, going to 1400 for the first time. I think it gets its chance here.
Oh, My Wish.
He'll be a good price, Shane, too. He'll be a good price, I think, from that barrier.
I don't know. I think the computer teams will back him, Clint. I haven't priced the race yet, but that's the type of horse a computer team can back. So it all depends. He gets his chance.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So race 9, number 11. Let's sum it all up. That might be something just to...
And have you got one from Derby Day you like? If we want to sort of roll one...
Absolutely.
Even more. What's your best of the weekend?
In the Wakeful, John Sargent, the star trainer who just presents 3-year-old fillies as stayers outstandingly, brings down Powers of Opal off a provincial maiden win, wins the Wakeful, and then hardest to beat in the Oaks.
I think that's race 5, number 5. Is that correct?
Geez, you're good.
Bang.
As always, Golden Boy, brilliant to see you.
See you later. Good luck, everyone. Big weekend's racing.
It's going to be brilliant, and make sure you tune in with HUTCHI'S Honkers, and it's a big day on Sunday, and hopefully you can enjoy Derby Day if you're Australian. Enjoy.
Good luck.